Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm all right. So you know you're controversial right now, right?
I mean, isn't that how it always is?
It is always like that, it seems. I'm sure you heard the internet's on fire, particularly by gang members and all types of gangs across the country. There's two sides to this I see, and one is saying that one's saying you led your followers to the slaughter and left them hanging, and another side says right on, you've done the right thing. I know I've spoken to like a couple street legends, and I won't name names, but they're all in agreements. You did the right thing, and it was a wise decision. Now, I thought, because I don't know anything about gang, I thought when you retired, I thought they would throw you like a retirement party, but clearly that's not the case here. I tried to dive deep on my own to do some research, because I don't know much, but I was only coming across like platforms that like left me baffled. Like, they were actual informants interviewing other informants about you. So I obviously couldn't trust anything they were saying. I didn't realize the street people actually followed informants like that, but it is what it is. I'm obviously been under a rock. So I had to come straight to you because you're a stand-up dude, and Don Diva only interviews stand-up dudes, and you're 45 now, and you're literally like the youngest street legend left that's stand-up. So we felt the need to talk to you, and we would like for you to get an opportunity to explain all of this to us and, help me understand the politics of it all. Why is gang mad? Not all of them, obviously, but there are a lot of people out there burning. Well, I won't say a lot of people are burning books, but I saw some people burning books. So explain to me why they're hurt or upset, or even angry.
Okay, well, that's a valid question. So let me try to explain that the best as I can. A lot of that comes from, ignorance. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge. A lot of that also comes because for a lot of people, I've been like a father figure, a counselor, a big brother, and they don't understand, my moves or whatever, because some of them, they have credible issues about the fact that I actually didn't go to them and tell them first myself, but I did it for good reason. And then some of them is just hurt because now they feel like they're lost and they have no guidance and no umbrella of somebody to, be up under, which is understandable. And some people just negative. Like, yeah, I heard somebody burnt my book too, and then I heard somebody reposted it. Well, let me address that real quick, right? So the guy that burnt my book, I actually educated him to a lot and encouraged him to be the man that he is now. He goes to work and comes home and he's with his family. And I educated him beyond any measure. And that's contributed to me. So him burning my book showed me that he was really angry, but I believe his anger was misplaced. However, the reason I didn't go and tell him at first is because I have to be honest. I didn't go to him and tell him at first because I knew he was playing both sides. That didn't change my love for him, but that made me aware that he was a double agent. Not meaning snitching, but that he was playing both sides. So he would talk to me, and then he would talk to the people I don't deal with and try to stay in between the middle to find his footing. Now, the other dude that burnt the book, which is murder, because I'm not like them, I'm going to say his name. I mean, he didn't burn the book, but he reposted it. That one threw me for a shock. Now, there's many things I can say about him, but all I'm going to say is that I held him down at a very controversial point of his life. And I'm not going to stoop to his level to speak negative about him or feed him with that. Because actually my decision is going to be the best for us all, even though they can't see it right now. So for the other people, a lot of these people are just looking for opportunities to jump on the bandwagon and have something to say to be relevant. So I continue to even make my haters relevant.
Right. Okay, so tell me this much. I'm hearing this term dropping your flag. What does that mean in the gang world? And I'm green. I didn't even know what that meant, but I picked up on the context clues, but I still need to understand what is normally felt about those that do that drop their flag. It's starting to feel frowned upon to me.
Dropping your flag is considered to me like basically, when you leave, what I did, when you give it up, when you leave, when you say, I'm not dealing with this no more. And actually it's frowned upon by young dudes that don't understand that I actually think not all, but the majority of them, they actually not built for this. I believe a lot of them are cowards, and I believe a lot of them are future confidential informants and cooperating witnesses, and they don't even know it yet. It's not like it was back in the day. See, you're going to see all the older mills, as you said, you know, a lot of legends support me and older people support me on this decision because they actually been through the hard times. For the people that actually been in it, they've been through the hard times when we was building this up, when it was extremely hard, when we was outnumbered and we had to survive, which a lot of these kids didn't have to face because we made it popular and like a fad now. And then the older legends that wasn't a part of this, they watched us struggle and defeat what used to oppress, you know, many people in jail back in the days, and seen us become a strong standing that just got out of hand with negativity and false indoctrinations.
Okay. So let me go back for a bit to about you not telling anyone before your actual announcement. Why not give all of them a heads up though? Like why not give them a heads up? And also, do you have any regrets about that part of it at all?
All right, well, I actually went and told one person that's been, you know, close to me, and I sat down and I talked to him. The reason why I didn't go tell everybody else, because first and foremost, as always, God is first in my life. So I had to, you know, sit and go back and forth with God first to do this, because God already showed me, like, all of this will come, the little negativity and all that. But he showed me the blessing. God showed me, my son, this is a curse. You have to leave this alone. This is holding you back. And he also showed me, you know, like that, what they call like crabs in a bucket, like where no matter every time you try to climb up and climb out,
they pull you down,
holding you back, pulling you back down.
Mm-hmm.
So he showed me that. So this decision, I made it without going to these people, because I had to make a big decision for God, myself, and all of them. This is a power move. I'm going to be one of God's true redemption stories to bring us into a new light of something that a lot of these people have no knowledge about or can even understand. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault. A lot of them grew up in false indoctrinations. See, the lower class in our communities, the urban communities, we're not taught the essentials of life that propels us to have good careers or entrepreneurs or stuff like that. For the most part, even besides the negativity that's predominantly taught in our neighborhoods, if that's not taught, they teach you become a rapper, become a basketball player, football player. When we're so much greater than that, we're so much bigger than that. We can excel to these higher positions, but it takes somebody else to be the example. So like the same way I was the example with, you know, the blood thing, and I made that cool because I'm the one that actually founded that set. Or the same way I'm going to make this cool. You know, I'm a MAGA Republican now. You know, I believe in something different than what they do. I understand how politics play a pivotal role in our life. And yes, there's going to be negative people. Yes, there's going to be people that talk about me. But you know what God told me about them? He said, my son, don't pay attention to that. That's the noise. Because God speaks in a still, small voice, like a whisper. And he said the noise is to drown out my voice. So don't let the noise distract you. So I don't.
Okay. Let's go back to your origin story for a bit. Your father's Jamaican, your mother's American. You were raised by your grandmother in the Bronx, right?
Something like that.
Okay. Can you share some insight into your childhood and upbringing? Like, what were some of the key influences in your early life, and how did your relationship with your family and friends shape your path towards gang involvement? Because I think it's important for children to see the parallels of how it begun for you.
That's cool. That's a good question. So it's unfortunate that I grew up with a mother, and for the record, I love my mother. But my mother went through a hard time, you know, and my family was placed under curses. So in the Bible, it shows you that generational curses are to the third and fourth generation. So curses that was passed on to her was passed on to me and my siblings. So one of them, she was, you know, basically she was addicted. You know, she was addicted to drugs. She had it hard. She was a single parent. And my mother was also a gang member. My mother's a black spade. And my mother didn't trust people around her son. Remember, I'm her oldest, her first. So When I was 5 years old, she would take me to gang meetings and all this. I went to all these black spade meetings when I was 5 years old, and this is all I seen. This is all I knew. So that played a pivotal part in indoctrinating me to that life, thinking that was it. That was something to basically look to as a guiding post, a compass. And now in this age, I actually realized that it wasn't.
Wow. Wow, that's big. And I think a lot of people have that parallel experience now, and probably particularly when they're around a lot of gang activity now in every hood pretty much. And so I'm afraid that that's going to be a lot of people's influence as well. So also, I read some court transcripts when informants testified that this all began, well, you and the Bloodhound Brims began in Attica years ago, right? And I got some confirmation recently when I watched Mel Kross, one of your supporters, on his show this week and Zip with the Drip show. They basically were saying that you created the Bloodhound Brims without being voted in. What was your mindset back then? What was your passion and drive to create it back then? And why did you feel the need to start it in the first place?
Great question. My passion was this. So I became self-educated in jail. You know, they threw me in the box a lot, so I had nothing but time. So I started to read. I started to become educated. And what happened was I looked at the mental state of what blood was at that time, and I seen that there was a lot of stuff that I believed was wrong with it. And as I started to learn history, not talking about blood history, talking about American history. And as I seen it, I said, you know, well, if I start my own, then I could put my own footprint on it and actually grasp these kids through my influence and educate them to become better, to become higher in life, to raise from the lower class to the middle class to the upper elite class. So that was my passion in it. And also I had a disagreement with some of the individuals that were considered big homies at the time, the way they were doing it. Mel Kross happens to not be one of them. Shout out Mel Kross. You know, also shout out Pee Wee. You know, as far as back then, you know, those two individuals played a pivotal part of my life in that as, you know, great leaders. They were great leaders. They're very educational, and they pushed me to be very educated. Also, shout out to Soul B. That's one of my mentors. He educated me, like, beyond years. Hold on. I'll call back.
Okay.
The call